I have got another lunchtime pickup. I'm going to get some records. Guy had probably 300 or more records. He wants $250 for them with a player. He said the CD player doesn't work. It's one of those wooden kind of old style 2-in-1 thing, so I'm not real hip on that anyways. But the records in the picture, he's showing a copy of Let It Be, so I'm hoping there's some good ones there, and hoping I can get a pretty good deal on them. So we'll see what happens. So I got there, had them all in a shed. The old guy that was trying to get rid of them, him and his wife had just bought RV and were selling the house, so they're trying to get rid of everything. They're going to travel the country for the rest of their lives. He said he's 74 years old. Sounds like the life. I hope I get to do something like that. Just go see pretty much everything in America till it all ends. So unfortunately, a lot of them had a lot of mildew and water damage, I think, from being out in that shed. I ended up getting them talked down to 150 for all of them. I don't know exactly how many are there, but it looked like there's probably at least 400. So if half of them end up being in good enough shape to sell in some way, shape, or form, then that means I paid $1 a piece for them, which I feel more than comfortable paying $1 a piece for a record. I think that's a really good price. And if I get more, then it's less than $1, so that's even better. If it's less, which I highly doubt is going to be the case, then I paid a little over $1. He did end up giving me extra, which wasn't part of the listing or anything, and he told me that at church they had made some sort of a resolution, and his deal for the week was that he was going to surprise everyone. So he said my surprise was that he offered a bunch of cassette tapes, a couple hundred cassette tapes, and looked like there were some decent tapes too. So even if there aren't 150 records, the cassette should offset the records. And going through it, I found, I didn't sit there and look at them forever because I didn't want to waste the guy's time, but there were some pretty good ones. I saw Yes, Fragile, Tommy the Who, Let It Be with Beatles, Leonard Skinner. I think there was a Kiss record, which that could be actually potentially pretty good. So overall, I feel pretty good about this deal. That the player is trash. It actually looked like it was underwater on one side, so it's not real promising for a lot of the records too. But I'm gonna try to sort through all of them when I get home, and I'll show you what all I got later. On my way home, before I left, I sent a guy a message. I saw this on Facebook Marketplace. Had a box of comic books from, looked like the 70s. He said 60s and 70s. A couple hundred of them. He only wants $100 for them. So I haven't gotten a reply back from him, but it had only been on for a little bit. I'm really hoping I can get that. I bought some comics from someone not too long ago, and there were a few in there from the 70s, early 80s. And I know that comics from that time period can be pretty valuable. So, 150 comics for $100, less than $1 a comic. There may be a couple in there that could pay for the whole lot, and then sell the rest of them for a few bucks and do pretty good. So, headed home, gonna go to Buffalo Wild Wings with the family. Hopefully I will hear back from him, and we can see what we get. So went through it all. These two cases in that stack were ones that were in good enough shape that they maybe were selling. This right here is the stuff that I know is going to be good. Some decent tapes, really good records. So That right there, I'll probably double my money with just that, and if that's worth something, I'll make quite a bit more. All of this, so this whole stack right here, all of that is water damaged. I don't know exactly how much is there, maybe 200 or so. So I'm gonna take it all to Half Price Books, see if they'll take any of it, and then what they don't take, I'm gonna take to the thrift store and just leave it there. There's cassette tapes in here and here, so probably a couple hundred cassette tapes too. So we'll see. Be interesting to see if I get anything out of Half Price Books for all of it. So I got all this stuff here in the back of the Lexus, getting ready to take it to Half Price Books. A ton of them not worth keeping, but there are almost as many worth keeping as there weren't. So I'll show you everything I kept later, and we'll see what I got, what I get from Half Price Books. I did end up getting those comic books, but I got excited because it was such a good deal that I forgot to film much of it. I took a picture before I started bagging and boarding all of them. I'll show that, but got quite a few of them bagged and boarded. A lot of them were pretty valuable. Weren't any from the 60s, like he said. They were all from about the same period in the 70s. He told me that his uncle had given him those, and he bought them all when he was a teenager, and they're all from about the same year, multiple runs of comics. So it was from like 74, early 74 to early 76, so about 24 months or so of him collecting. Not super consistent. There's a few gaps in the runs, but there's Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Thor. During that period, comics increased in price pretty significantly, good percentage. They went from 25 to 30 and then 35. He didn't have any of the 35 variations. Some of those can be really valuable, but he did have a whole lot, almost every in the run that it was possible, from 25 to 30. So the limited release 30-cent variations, there's quite a few of those. First appearance of Silver St. Cloud, the Joker #1, that's probably the best one in there. I'll show them once I get home. I'm gonna show those records, and I'll show those comic books. But since he was older, late teens, he actually took really good care of them. The only thing that he did that was a little weird was he wrote something on a couple of them, but it was in like pastel, so it can kind of be cleaned off. I tested it on one of the cheaper ones, and I don't think it really damaged it cleaning it, so I may clean a couple more of them. The earlier ones, which are the more valuable ones, he didn't mark anyway, so I may not. We'll see. But anyways, like I said, we're on our way to Half Price Books. Gonna trade in those records that were water damaged, or at least try to see what I can get for them. And maybe I'll find something at Half Price Books while we're waiting too. Spawn. Love this stuff. That's pretty cool. Actually have some good stuff right now. Can't believe they went 100 for that. I think I sold one for 80 a couple weeks ago. Conflicted on this one. I really want it. 30 bucks is kind of high. I'm gonna look it up and see that. I love gargoyles. It's pretty cool. Well, you don't always win. $6. It's better than throwing it all away, though, I guess. That'll help pay for one action figure. So, Half Price Books was pretty awesome. Ended up getting a whole bunch of horror VHS tapes. I'm going to the VHS swap here in Dallas. Put a link for it in the video. It's on Saturday, October 5th. I'm going to bring a bunch of my tapes to that. See what I can sell. I've got a whole bunch of laser discs I'm going to take too. And then I got all of these Intelivision games. They were on clearance for $2 a piece. These few games, the pops, and then I think my favorite find was the Kiss guy and all the Spawn figures. Got medieval Spawn. This one's pretty cool, Future Spawn, and they were, as you can see, pretty dang cheap. Here's that comic book collection. I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but you can see that it's just stacks of 70s Marvel, DC comics. There's good runs of them. And here's the highlights. These guys here, the Joker one just being kind of unique, and then these all being price variants. You can see the condition of everything is just really good. Very, very well preserved, well taken care of. Got this last little stack here I need to get some more bags and boards for, but everything's just in amazing shape. Went through and tallied everything up, and I think total amount's probably somewhere between about $3,500 to $4,000 worth of comics. So for $100, pretty dang good investment. Last thing that I wanted to show here, I had shown you guys this stuff earlier, but I didn't really go through it. So, Beatles, Leonard Skinner, Chevy Checker. A lot of these just need to be cleaned up. Crosby, Stills and Nash. Allman Brothers, that's probably the worst shape. Cool ZZ Top. Steve Miller. Santana. Hendrix Rainbow Bridge. Destroyer. That one's not in great shape either, but pretty excited to get that one. I love that cover. That's pretty awesome. Birds, Foreigner, more Steve Miller, Grand Funk. So, not a bad little haul. Some good tapes. A lot of these ones over here are sealed new, so once I go through both of those tubs, like I said, there's probably over 150 or so. I'm going to probably keep most of those. Maybe get rid of the ones I have, and then in here I should be able to make my money back off of my investment plus some. So glad I was able to help the old guy out, give me a pretty good deal. And honestly, most of these records that I'm going to end up keeping would end up costing me about what I paid for the lot anyway. So in all, if I make my money back and I keep that much worth of records, I'm doing pretty good.